19th. Can you stand with me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Warrants. I have the general fund warrant dated December 15, 2022, in the amount of $349,238.91. Biggest item on there is for the Franklin County Sheriff in the amount of $289,648. Anybody want to make a motion to approve that warrant?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Brendan, you have the miscellaneous warrants.
Miscellaneous, that's right.
I've got a stormwater utility warrant, only one invoice. It's from the firm that's been running the stormwater utility until they got on board. So it's EIV. It's for, I don't know, roughly 60 hours or so, and then some reimbursable expenses, just being mileage. All looks reasonable to me. Especially when you figure that it was from August 17th to September 30th. It's actually probably a little cheaper than what we would have spent on payroll if we had someone sitting in that desk, believe it or not. So, stormwater utility warrant, December 19th, 2022. One invoice only, and it's $7,178.13. So I'll make a motion to approve that as presented.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So the Stonehouse warrant, it's just one invoice for $250. It's a donation to Operation Happiness, and it's the revenue, the amount that we made off the Holly Jolly Jamboree. So it's $250 might not seem like a lot, but a lot goes into it. You get a raise, and then you get the cushion at the end. So I'm gonna thank everybody that showed up for that event, and thanks to John Montague for all the work he put in and everyone told. So Stonehouse warrant, December 19th, 2022, $250. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And I've got the industrial park warrant. It's the same normal Green Mountain Power invoices for the sewer pump, the road lights, and street lights. So industrial park warrant, December 19th, 2022, $635.75. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Believe it or not, this used to be about $750 6 years ago when I first got on the board and started doing these. I don't know if it's the new pump we put in or LED lighting, but even after 6 years worth of rate increases, we're more than $100 cheaper than what we used to be. That's pretty cool. Infrastructure development warrant, save the big one for last. It's all in the town hall cost center. I'm not going to comment on where it puts us with the town hall. We're at or under last I knew, but we still have to pay the bills. So, town hall cost center, the biggest invoice is an annual payment to our good local bank, People's Trust. So that'll keep showing up every year for 9 more years. That's $290,837.30. Our interest rate is less than 3%. Inflation was 7%, and we're all happy about that because it's lower than expected, so pretty good loan. So infrastructure development warrant, $361,572.56. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask Anna a question?
Sure.
What's the interest rate?
2.65%.
2.65, right? Thank you.
10-year note, we were able to do
Yeah, for 10 year.
The interest rate was so low, we took a 10 instead of a 15.
Yeah,
And it's what the voters voted on, to borrow that one.
Yeah. Only debt we have in the local option tax is paying it. I think even after making that debt payment, even after paying this, this entire warrant, I think we still have over $600,000 sitting in that account unallocated. And we're making anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 a quarter in revenue off that, so. And we talk about what the projects we need to do, that's how we can pay for a lot of them.
Okay, Brian, you know the payroll warrants.
Payroll warrants, yeah, we got two of them, they're roughly the same. There's no agency checks this time. Payroll dated December 9th, 2022, it's in the amount of $24,795.72. And the one for December 16th, 2022 is in the amount of $24,961.88. So you get no agency checks, just standard payroll appears. Make a motion, we accept both payrolls as presented.
Okay, I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that wraps up the warrants. In front of you, you have the minutes from December 5th. Anybody want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Perfect, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I did one more thing before we.
One more thing.
So I'm looking at the bill, it looks like there's several other big people. It's 2.85,
So,
and it's no problem, and it's a $2.5 million principal balance originally. We're paying $195.20 a day in interest. Interest due for this annual payment was $71,250. So even though it's a low rate, it's still $200 a day. So I don't know,
That is not free money.
it's not free money.
That's what it is this year, next year it'll be lower.
right.
Yeah, it's front loaded.
And the board did talk about paying it off early if they chose to. There's no prepayment penalty.
So if we decide, I don't know if it's we're saying you can do whatever you want with ARPA. Like if we're 2 years away from having a shovel-ready plan, it might make sense to park cash by paying that off to save all that interest. I don't know. Be interesting to have that discussion later on maybe, because between what we're gonna rake in the next 6 months and local option tax and what we have in the bank and ARPA funds, we could more than pay this off. And then we can loan, but if we go take out another loan for the similar amount of money to do a project, it's gonna be at 7% instead of 2.8, so. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Okay. Public comment, anybody from the public want to make a public comment? Hearing none. Town manager's report, go ahead, Karen.
Yes, on the agenda, we have errors and omissions. We don't need those today. So the first item under town manager is the traffic ordinance. You have an updated version in your packet. You also have from regional planning that lovely little setting speed limits, a guide for Vermont towns. It's actually really good. I don't mean to be sarcastic when I smile at that.
I was gonna say it was interesting too.
It is interesting to read it because it kind of gives you the short versions there every once in a while about why you set the principles for setting speed limits and then the legal background as to why you do it that way. So what you have in front of you in that ordinance are the roads we've taken over in the last 3 to 4 years. We're suggesting at this point setting it at the lowest speed limit allowed, which is 25 miles an hour for residential areas. And I'm still waiting for regional planning to get back to me on when they'll be able to do the speed study on McQuam. They're gonna do a couple sections. So I guess that's the only thing I believe right now, other than I'm looking for feedback before our next meeting so that, we can try to approve this in January, right? So parking areas, no parking areas, feedback on where specifically on McQuam you might have an issue so we can point them in the right direction. They can't do the whole road, they're gonna do 2 main sections right now. Study them on McQuam they have somebody who locally will do it, but he can't get to it until the beginning of January. Yeah,
Gary, I had somebody, a resident on French Hill text a picture of a car parked in the road.
yep, there was one.
What's the appropriate avenue for a resident, like who should they call? Should that go straight to the sheriff or? Just like,
No, I mean, they've called our office when we're open. That happened the night of the storm,
right,
and we had to plow around them. They must have had it towed. It was a out-of-state car from Pennsylvania, and it was gone by like 4 or 5 p.m. Otherwise, I would call the sheriff's department to find out who's at the top of the towing list, and we'll have it towed, because we have an ordinance that says during these months of winter, you can't park on the road. They clearly didn't park there intentionally, so we try to give them a day to get the tow truck out there and remove the vehicle.
that's just one thing I've tried to pick up the last few years.
Yep.
When someone calls, you try to tell them who they should call next time. That way-
They can call the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
I
might
prefer
be, but
not the emergency line unless it's an emergency. It wasn't a horrible section of the road, but
still.
I'm thinking they just couldn't get up the road. Yeah, it's right before Bluff Lane. They're parked on the right hand uphill, going up that side. Yeah, they're blocking almost the whole right hand lane,
Oh, thank you.
right before the hill. It's bad. But anyway, they removed themselves.
Can I mention one more, Carrie? I probably should have sent an email. The road I live on is not listed on here. I think it used to be technically part of the Bell Drive, but it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
that little section of Marcel, like half of it's public and
Yep,
half of it's private, so like, probably should be listed on there, I assume.
yep.
What was
Should be.
that called?
Marcel, if you're asking about
Okay.
the road I mentioned.
Yeah. It's dead end, right?
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, goes to the Swan line.
So anyway, I don't need to discuss this a lot more. I just want feedback soon, like that is perfect, so that we can finish this up in January. It takes obviously once you guys approve it at a meeting, it doesn't become effective until 60 days later. You know, there's a 45-day appeal period, so want to get this going before spring when people tend to pick up their speeds a little more. Even in neighborhoods, which is dangerous. You good? Okay. Second one on here, Wood for Good. We talked about this in, I believe, a couple months ago. There was an organization in Chittenden County that organized a bunch of wood, both from people that were landscaping contractors and just getting people that had extra wood, more than they needed. So there was basically a firewood bank, like a food bank. They asked us to help people in Franklin County because they had a number of requests from people in Franklin County. They had no distribution system. So we accepted some wood, we stored it in a safe, dry location, and the person who had originally said they would deliver for us couldn't do it. So I started asking around. And good or bad, it was somebody I had recently seen here at a meeting, so no good deed goes unpunished. We were very pleased to have Rael Sear come forward and offer to donate his services for a day. So I want to do a big shout out to Rael for that work. He worked with our crew loading it, working very patiently for the grateful recipients of this wood, and delivered all that wood a week ago. So I want to thank him. He's actually here tonight, so maybe we could put him on a committee, but right now we're just saying thank you very much, Rael.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was, so, no speech. He'd be like, I'm never doing that again. But anyway, so it was a good thing. We completed at least one round, and they have a few more batches of wood to deliver. We might get some more. They haven't delivered them yet, so we're gonna work our way down the list as long as we can find volunteers. I have a couple now, so yeah, feels good to actually get that done.
Did it seem like, Carrie, there might be, they might continue to do it? Now I'm just thinking if it's 3 or 4 this time, as word gets out. I mean, I know we posted a couple times
Yep.
Front Porch Forum and a couple times on Facebook, but I imagine if it gets out, maybe double, triple that.
Absolutely. Eric Axelrod, the one who runs that, said he would be willing to give us more, and even more this season, and probably likely more next season as well. We usually start earlier. They close down that lot at a certain point in the winter anyway, so it's not something we're gonna do all winter long, but generally like October through December. So yeah, we hope to do it again. All right, so that brings us to the third item and fourth are just your copies of some A&R stuff for Beta Technologies, Act 250 for Franklin Park West.
Franklin Park West is an Act 250 permit for a almost 42,000 square foot car dealership. It's gonna pay for a lot of teachers and some plow trucks. So the big parking lot across from UCar, Bocan, Lakeland, that was gonna be Bocan's new dealership. And then the cost went up so much, so Bocan Brothers sold it to UCar. UCar's coming in, they're gonna build it. So 41,800 square feet of another auto dealership, so I don't know what they'll do with the existing building, but
question.
probably used cars if I had to guess. They bought the Nissan place to do used cars there, but I don't know. But just think, a lot of people, and it drives me nuts when I see it, they say like, we don't need another car dealership. Well, we have so many, we cover just about every brand now except for Kia and Hyundai, but I can BMW and, higher end. But it brings people in the area. They wanna come here to go to all our different dealerships, they stop for lunch, they might go to Walmart. We probably make 50 grand in local option tax dollars as a municipality every year just because we have so many car dealerships, so, I'm grateful to New Car for building that. Al?
There's another advantage, that those car dealerships are also stockpiling for other distributors. So my cousin who lives in Syracuse bought her car in Syracuse, but it actually came from GMC.
Yeah.
So it brings in more money if you ask my point.
Yeah, it's just, if we had one or two of them, I don't think we'd see the traffic and the income that we make from it. Then, we have what, 5? And then if you count the used car dealerships in the area, we've got a lot more than that. You count Cobb, you count Progressive, you count Handy's right in the downtown, it's just good for St. Albans. So to see our existing dealerships being upgraded, continues into the future, and then to see Haddad, I think Haddad had well over 10 million into their building. And the last quote I heard for the new car was 13 to 16 million. I mean, these are huge investments and they could be made anywhere in the world, but they happen to be right here. So when people say they want a Denny's or a Golden Corral, like, that's great, but an auto technician gets paid a heck of a lot more than the line cook. And those buildings pay a lot more property tax than a chain restaurant would, so, it works both ways.
Another question, do you know what's happened to the company that's gonna sell the RVs? I was up there the other day.
Camping World,
Yeah.
they're probably in a hold pattern over construction costs, and then their market's in turmoil with interest rates and the looming recession. I mean, that's a tertiary purchase, an RV.
So it's off.
I don't know that it's offline. I mean, I think they're just holding off. See what the next, that would be Megan might know more, but I would bet $10 if you call and ask, that's what you'll get. Because they paid, the one is bought. They've got some engineering plans done, more in the works to get to the point of being permit ready.
Be nice if they did a little maintenance on
Yeah, if they'd at least hire somebody for a couple grand a year to mow the thing or something.
Where is this?
So you know where TC's RV was?
Yeah, there.
it. Right there.
That's gonna be a camping
Oh,
world.
the same place, okay.
Yeah, they bought it
They
and
got the building there to repair and stuff.
they bought that and they're gonna tear everything down, and start
The
redoing it.
house, we need to go out.
Yeah, they bought more than just that one house. Tom owned a couple next
Yeah, there's a
door.
couple there that aren't very good repair.
So I think they own them all and they're
You're
just
probably
leaving.
getting $15 a year in property tax.
Probably more than that,
I don't know.
but
I was gonna say one comment, I guess,
That's cool.
I don't know if we have too many car dealerships when they start closing, instead of building new ones,
Well, I mean, I think the single
Market will
largest
tell you.
taxpayer, individual tax-paying account that we have that's not a giant corporation is a family-owned and operated car dealership up by exit 20. These folks drive a crap load of money into our community. Handy, Toyota and Chevy, they're the reason why the museum was able to not charge admission all summer. They donated $5,000, which is more than what the museum expects to receive every summer from admission fees. And anybody on the street was welcome, no charge for the first time ever. I mean, Handy's sponsors events in our parks, I mean, it's just a win-win. So when news of this car dealership breaks out, people think it's a brand new one. And, you know, the keyboard warriors will get the click clacking, but those are the points I would make, is these things put a lot of money into the community, and they bring a lot of traffic that sustains a lot of other business. So,
Okay.
That's it, I don't have any other surprises for you under that section.
Okay. The next select board meeting is Wednesday, January 4th, and Wednesday, January 18th, both at 6:30. We'll have a budget work session on Monday, January 9th, starting at 5.
So 4th at 6:30, right, and then
Yeah.
9th at 5.
9th at 5, and then 18th
we had that ribbon cutting on the 18th at 5:30.
18th is,
and then the town will have a ribbon cutting here at 5:30.
What date is the ribbon coming?
January 18th
Okay.
at 5:30.
I'll bring my scissors.
Sounds good.
5:30 on the ribbon cutting?
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Does anybody have any other business?
Well, I would just think we should thank our staff here and our town employees for all the work they did moving in down here. I mean,
Yeah.
I came in there when they're at, and the boxes were stacked to the roof, and I mean, some people really busted it to get it where it is today.
Yeah.
A lot of extra work.
It's been everybody too, Public Works.
Right,
You know,
Public Works is here,
everybody. I
and,
mean,
you know, I looked at all them boxes that needed to be filed, I figure it's gonna go on all winter. But you come in here now, looks like we've been rolling for months, so.
I know it's just symbols, but the flags and I love the logo, it looks great, so, looks good.
Good job,
This looks
everybody.
good. And the wayfinding signs, they all match. It's almost like somebody thought a lot about how this place should look.
Almost like,
Looks like
it was a plan.
almost.
Heard there was a meeting or two.
We've got about $300,000 in architectural fees to prove it, so, yeah. No, it's a beautiful building. Everybody that had something to do with it should feel good about it.
And it feels good to work in it too, so, thank you.
Okay, anybody have any other? Okay, hearing none. Would anybody like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contractual and personnel matter with premature general public knowledge of the subject matter to place the town or person involved at a substantial disadvantage? It's further moved to enter into executive session to discuss a contractual and personnel matter under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes, and to invite the town manager, Carrie Johnson, Al Vogel, interim director of operations.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?